You're tuned into All Too Real 2. Be sure to subscribe, download, share the show with a friend, and stop by all2real2.com for our social links, Patreon, and TeePublic store info.
Hi, I'm Chris.
And I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Fergal.
And we're from Movie Smash.
Comic book movies are having a golden age right now with the MCU.
Movies based on comics aren't necessarily a new thing, but they're a big thing.
Join us every other Tuesday on Movie Smash.
We explore these movies and find some hidden gems.
Every other week, we revisit some of the best.
And some of the worst movies based on comics or graphic novels.
Was Green Lantern as bad as you remember?
Heck no!
Is Time Cop the most accurate time travel movie ever created?
Absolutely.
Was Mystery Men way ahead of its time?
Should they be revisited? Should they be forgotten?
Join us on Movie Smash and find out. Listen wherever you find your fine podcasts.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All Too Real 2. My name is Michael E. Cullen II, and with me, as always, is...
Sesame.
I'm still here, shit eater in Carta.
Your voice changed. You might want to get that looked at.
Yeah, okay.
You good?
I'm good.
I was worried you were going through puberty again or something.
Yeah, I was going through it. Hold on. Oh, God, no. No, do I sound okay? No,
You sound perfect.
All right, cool. All right.
Yeah.
All right. I don't have like any weird like notes going on, nothing like that.
No.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All
You
right.
sound just like yourself, Sesame.
All right, let's do this.
So, today on the show, folks, first off, Sesame, how you been feeling about, the world and society and everything?
No, I've been having a lot of anxiety and depression, all that shit. But it's winter, so that's already there. But obviously the stuff going on is not helping. That's for sure.
Yeah. I guess it could be worse.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
It could be a little bit like the movie The Running Man.
It could be like The Running Man. Yes.
Yes, which we are covering today. It's the fourth episode of our dive into based on the works of Stephen King. So, yeah.
Okay. I understand now a part of the movie of why I thought there was a reference to Stephen King, but I didn't know that he wrote this. So now it makes sense.
Yes, this was written by Stephen King. The book was written, the novel in 1982 under the pen name or pseudonym Richard Bachman, which Stephen King writes books under sometimes. For the longest time, he didn't reveal that it was him. But yeah, so Richard Bachman. It was written in 1982. Then it was turned into the book actually takes place in 2025, the same year that the movie came out.
Okay,
which is interesting. This was made into a movie back in 1987 as well with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And this was adapted again by Edgar Wright this past year, a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting. That's the one we're covering. Making sure you watched the right one, right? You did watch the Glen Powell starring one, right?
The 2025?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that's the one. Josh Brolin and
yes.
Yeah, okay, that's the right one.
Glen Powell is the main star. So we'll get into this. Okay, so basically, the Internet Movie Database synopsis here, or logline, is a man joins a game show in which contestants allowed to flee anywhere in the world are pursued by hunters hired to kill them. This was directed by Edgar Wright, who people will know from Shaun of the Dead, The World's End, Last Night in Soho, Baby Driver, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, Hot Fuzz, other stuff too.
Brings it up.
Yep. And Buzz it up.
No, I said buzz it.
Buzz it up. Okay, gotcha. Buzz it up. It was written by Edgar Wright and Michael Bacall, based on the Stephen King novel or story. I don't know if it's a novel, whatever it is. Michael Bacall is an actor and writer. He wrote Scott Pilgrim versus the World and wrote 21 Jump Street. He's acted in Django Unchained and other stuff. So there we go.
Other stuff. I can understand why Stephen King would have written this under a different name, because it's a little bit off-brand than the horror he's used to writing or usually writing.
And the thing is with Stephen King is he's always hated being labeled a horror writer.
Yeah.
Because he writes various types. I mean, he writes sci-fi, he writes horror, he writes, it's just, but his most popular things are usually horror because he's, most known for, like The Shining or Misery or the book It or, stuff like that. So, yeah. But, he can pull out a banger like this too.
Yeah.
And I say banger as in meaning Maine, where he's from, Bangor, Maine. But anyways,
yeah, that's what
I did not intend that, but I just.
That's all right. Yeah, a lot of his books are based.
Yeah. So this movie stars Glen Powell as Ben Richards, Alyssa Ben as Kathy Richards, Sienna Ben as Kathy Richards. I think they're twins. They're the daughter.
Okay.
Yeah. You got David Zeiss as Richard Manuel, Greg Townley. I don't like the fact that they have these people. I think it's in order of appearance. Greg Townley as Decker. Carl Glussman as Frank, who I'm in a movie with, Carl Glussman. So I'm in the movie Eenie Meenie, which stars Carl Glussman, and he's in this movie. So that means that there's like 2 degrees of separation between me and Glen Powell, I guess.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep. So you got Lee Pace as Evan McCone. You've got let's see here. I don't like the order they have these people in because I'm trying to find the like important people, and nobody's not important, but you know what I mean. Yeah. You got Jamie Lawson as Sheila Richards. We've got Katy O'Brian as Jenny Laughlin. You got Martin Herlihy as Tim Jansky. Martin Herlihy of Please Don't Destroy fame.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Timothy. No, Tim is short for Timothy.
Josh Brolin is Dan Killian.
Good old Joshy.
Yeah, we've got
that's what I call him. I call him Joshy. He's cool.
Yeah. He's when he and I hang out, I always call him Joshy too. Yeah. Got Michael Cera as Elton Parakis. Colman Domingo as Bobby T. That's a lot of your main cast there. So
yeah.
Joshy B as like I was saying, Joshy Brolin. Yeah.
Joshy B. Yep.
Joshy B. Anytime I see him, I say that. And then we have our secret handshake.
Yeah.
Whenever he and I go to Panera Bread and have soup.
You have soup. Yeah. We go to Panera and well, hey.
No, that's what he and I do. I'm not going to tell you which Panera or, anything like that. He flies me there in his private jet. It's always on the second Tuesday of the week. And the second Tuesday is usually better than the first Tuesday of every week. So initial thoughts here on this movie, Sesame?
Oh, I loved it. It's probably one of my favorite movies of 2025, actually.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if I'd like it because I usually don't really watch action movies that much, but I was really just like, I was in for the whole, like the long haul. But I don't think I even took any breaks. Like I just watched the whole thing. Which is actually a testament to my discipline and willpower. Because if you haven't noticed, people, not just kids, but even adults, were so been brainwashed by short form content that even sitting down and watching a movie is now like seen as like an intellectual task. Like. So like the fact that I was actually able to like watch a movie without like, but it's longer than 15 minutes long or whatever. It's a whole prospect.
It's kind of like how people were, people would be like, I can't read a book, man. That takes forever. That's how people are with movies now.
No, they are. That's the problem. This was scary. Like I was watching this video and this woman was talking about how 40% of Gen Alpha can't even read, or read like either 40% either cannot read at all, or within that 40% they can read like tiny like little bits about what they're what they can what's actually like on the paper or tab better at this point because who uses actual physical anything anymore? But like, and the teacher was saying that like the kids don't even get excited anymore, like when people show like a movie for class. And one of her students literally told her, "I don't watch long form entertainment." Like, it's like you have the intellectual capacity to say smart sounding words, but to say you're stupid, like, you know, it's like
I will tell you something good is like so the other day, because we're talking about Gen Alpha.
Yeah.
I think she's might be Gen Z. I don't know what Alpha starts at. Like, but this girl I work with who's 19, she just mentioned like I can't remember how it came up, but she says, Oh, I was saying, because we were having a meeting at work, and I said, can't we? Because we had to watch videos at the meeting for like some kind of training stuff or whatever. And I said, can we just watch like movies instead? And then, you know, and so then this girl said later on, she's like, it was always cool, like in school, like when we would have movie day and we'd be able to sit and watch a movie. And I'm like, okay, good. There's some hope in the world, but.
Yeah, exactly.
She's like a cinephile though. She like loves movies, so so that's good. At least some young people are like that. And I will say, I mean, like my nieces and nephews, some of whom I know for sure are Gen Alpha, they love watching movies. So at least we got that. And some of them like reading too. So
and that is great, but yeah, a lot though are just which is not their fault. It's just they're just victims of how this was all designed to make them stupid.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just like, I mean, it fits in well with this movie here when you're talking about because this is a society in this movie where like reality game shows are kind of the entertainment, but they're like everything is run by corporate greed and stuff, and that's basically what we got now. I mean, you've got in a way like the guy who runs the Josh Brolin's character, you could basically say is like Ellison's or something.
The Hulu and Ellison's, yeah.
Yeah, like now they're trying to, take over Warner Brothers, and they're going to have part ownership of TikTok soon, and they already own CBS and Paramount and all that shit. So, yeah.
Like I was saying earlier, though, too, I mean, like, we're not that far off of, like, literally just having, like, people die in game shows for entertainment because our brains are so fried of pleasure centers.
Yeah.
Like Trump, like I was saying earlier, like Trump literally was talking about like having like UFC fights in the White House lawn. Like, yeah, people think it's a joke, but it's like I don't think it's a joke. I think he probably will do that. It's
it's already happening.
Well, there you go. So,
because it's already scheduled. It's going to be during the big celebration of the 250th anniversary of the United States. They're already got it set up there. I think it's going to be on like the front lawn of the White House. They're having like a big setup for a UFC fight. It's already set in stone that it's happening. So,
I mean, it's just like these are the things people that were like said that like Barack Obama was disgracing the White House by putting in a basketball court. You're like, you see this black president playing basketball? What did we tell you guys? Then now Trump's like, I'm going to have people slit each other's throats in the White House lawn. They're like, yeah, freedom, freedom, freedom. What? Freedom to die? Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I don't think we're going to be slitting each other's throats.
That'll be year 3, but well, no. But anyway, like a lot of these dystopian, and this is not the only one that kind of touches on this theme, but like a lot of these dystopian films that were interesting, a lot of them were made in the late 70s and early 80s. So it seems like they could just sense that like technology was going to start moving pretty fast when it came to like that kind of stuff, like that kind of technology.
Yeah.
Like especially like when it comes to like computers and things like that, which they were correct because it did advance pretty rapidly from the late 70s and or should I say the late 1970s, because now we're in another century and the kids might be confused. Like, wait, we're not in the 70s, we're in the 20s, bro. I know. Fuck you. I'm old. I get it. Shut up. But anyway, so it's just like,
well, I mean, people will say things like, what happened back in the 1900s, and I'm like,
fuck you. but yeah, I mean, a lot of these stories, they talk about, the convergence of capitalism and technology and like these ludicrous game shows or other forms of entertainment that mix like real world violence and or real world like exploitation with entertainment into the same bundle, if you will. And then like the people just like accept it as like a normal part of life in these movies. Because it is like, we would be the same way. Like if Trump were to do shit like this, or anyone, within like 2 years at most, people would just like think it's normal. Like they wouldn't even.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You slowly roll things out, and eventually people just think it's normal. Like something that would have been outrageous 20 years ago or 10 years ago or a year ago. Sometimes we just get used to it. And especially when you barrage somebody with a lot of stuff, and it's like, okay, I guess that's what we're doing now. It's insane. But it's okay, because we're going to be entertained, and we'll watch people being killed on TV or something, and just forget about the fact that we can't feed ourselves, or we don't have health care.
Yeah,
topics that are in this movie.
Literally.
Yeah,
literally in this book. Of course, then the right will say this movie's political. Yeah, it is. That's the whole point, actually. Like, I don't think anyone's like going to argue against that. Like, no, please don't be mad. It's not political. It's like, no, it actually damn well is political. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is like entertainment and has always been political.
Yeah.
I think everything is political in a way. It's like you can't do art without it being political in some way. It's not necessarily going to be a big political thing, but it's just like the idea of like, oh, love one another or something. The Bible is political, for crying out loud. It's like, but
anyway, I did love this movie. I was really entertained by it. No,
I was too. I want to go back and watch the Schwarzenegger one, which I haven't seen since I was a kid. But
I haven't seen it at all, so I do want to watch it.
It's a lot different than this one. That one strayed a lot from the book. There's like added characters and different things, but
also this book's more accurate to the book.
Yeah, it's more accurate. They changed a lot of things, but it was still more faithful.
Okay.
The book does take place in 2025, the same year that the movie came out, which is interesting, so that was considered way off in the future when he wrote the book in the early 80s. So, do we want to like dive into the story, or do we want to talk about things we liked in this?
We can just do a little bit of both, I think, because it is kind of a long movie, 2 hours. There we go again. It's a long movie. That used to be the average length of a movie.
That's true, but we got to the point in the past where movies got way too long. When you had your like Lord of the Rings and stuff, like I'm not saying that was too long. I mean, that was still entertaining, but when you had that be successful, where people just started making movies longer, and a lot of your like Marvel movies are way too long, in my opinion.
Especially in Endgame was like almost 3 hours long. I'm like, okay, if you're a superhero film, like, come on.
And I mean, it was a good movie, but then there are but at least that one was good. There are some that are just like, okay, you could have like taken out the whole second act of this movie and it wouldn't have mattered. So yeah. So what's on your mind about this? What do you want to say first?
I'll just say I'm still here, or I'm still alive, shit eater. No, just like you said, like it's very political. The movie begins very like literally in the first scene. He's got his sick kid with them asking his boss for his job back because he got fired for saying something about radiation poisoning to the union rep, and then the union rep of course churned, which that's pretty much America's unions pretty much work for the capitalists in this country. They don't really help anyone. They go, oh yeah, we'll look into it, and then they just like go to the people who actually own everything.
I'll say some unions are good. It's just it depends on what union it is and stuff like that. And I still think unionization is still better than no union in a lot of places. So yeah.
No, it is, but I'm just saying, like, a lot of times they'll usually decide with the capital owners because they're bought and paid for by the capital owners. So in this case, in this movie, it's kind of like that too, where instead of actually being a union rep, the person's just there to be a rat to tell whoever confided into them. And so he got not only did he get fired, he got blacklisted, which means it's pretty much impossible for him to find a regular job. And so, the guy's just like, oh, fuck you. How dare you bring your sick kid in here to make me feel guilty, whatever. And so, he refuses his, plea. And so he's watching TV. His daughter's got like a fever for like a whole week. This way he was wanting his job back. And then he's watching, shitty game show TV shows they have where people literally just get killed or get severely hurt if they get an answer wrong or whatever, like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire type thing, like a guy's literally on a hamster wheel. Like, we're not even being something here. Like, you know what I mean? Like
yeah, that was a game that was like hosted by Sean Hayes, was playing the show host. Yeah.
And so, he's kind of like, he's sort of like gaming it out, like, no pun intended. Like, he's writing things down on like a scoreboard to see like, what answer, what question do people get wrong or what happens to them if they get wrong. And so he's kind of toying with the idea of auditioning for one of these games. Not the Running Man, though. He wasn't going to audition for the Running Man.
Yes, the Running Man seems basically like a death sentence.
It's the worst. I mean, it pays the most, but it's the worst one. And so, you can probably figure out what happens when he auditions for one of these other games. Which one is he chosen for?
Yeah, they wanted him on that one because he seems to be. We find out later from people that they seem to have like these archetypes of people that they want on the show. So
yeah,
and he fits into one of them. So
yeah, I did a physical and psychological testing, because they thought of everything, almost everything. Again, like Josh Brolin, he plays a great I love Josh Brolin just as an actor, like everything.
Yeah.
He's pretty much just. I loved him when he would play George W. Bush in that movie back in the day.
Oh yeah,
that was really good. Pretty much anything, and he plays such a good. How do I explain? Like, some of my favorite villains are the type of villains who literally are just like, they're very calm about it. Like, they're not like they don't have like this cartoonish sense of evil to them. It's very pragmatic and practical. Like his character, you feel like, like, this is what we do. Like, it's like like there's no like
one of the things that's slightly different than our real society right now, because it seems like we have cartoon villains in the real world. Most of our like leaders of countries and business are basically like right out of a Hanna-Barbera cartoon. So.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. That's basically kind of where the story goes into. We could talk about little things here now, like we don't have to go into the whole plot or anything. But
yeah, I mean the basic like the themes that I've noticed in the movie too are like it's like an authoritarian type thing where in the movie the United States is governed by a media network, basically the network, which is called the network,
right.
And which is run on something called Freevee, which is funny because that was the name of the free streaming app that Amazon just ended recently.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Yeah, basically they lumped everything into Amazon Prime now, but their free one was called Freevee. And I think it's funny that this was called Freevee, and I think that was in the original book too. So it's just kind of
probably too intentionally. Was a double whammy because of the fact that Amazon is kind of like the network a little bit in this story, because they own so much. Not to the point where they own like everything, but they own.
No, we still haven't gotten to the part in the world where it's just a singular company that owns everything. We still have, you still have your Amazons and your Walmarts and your Googles and your Apples and all that stuff. You don't have them all combined yet, but give it time.
Yeah, rest assured it'll happen.
Part of me is hopeful that it won't happen because most of these people are just too stupid. So
maybe their hubris will get them basically.
The main problem with a lot of these people is that they've never been told no.
Right. They're like,
so when they are told no, they don't understand things. Like our president does that a lot, where he just doesn't, understand why he can't do whatever he wants across the world. And so he just does it, or, whatever. It's so stupid. Nobody ever told him no in his life. And you can see how that happens just even with a kid early on, where, a kid will become spoiled because, you tell them, you can't have that extra cookie or whatever, so it's just like stupid. But I mean, it's, that's one of the main, things about this is that they basically take the idea of violence in these shows to distract you from the fact that they're basically mining you for your work and you get nothing in return.
Yeah.
So, it's like, it's the bread and circus sort of thing, it's just,
Yeah, because Josh Brolin said his character, Dan, what was his last name?
Killian.
Dan Killian, told him that if he were to survive the first week, this goes on for 30 days. If he were to survive the first week of the Running Man, that would put him in like the top 1% of the world's wealth. And that was only like $10,000. So like imagine like how poor people are where that puts you in, you know what I mean? Like,
it's 10,000 new dollars is what they call them.
New dollars. I don't know what that. Like,
I think it was just like that's their new currency. And if you noticed, all of the currency had Arnold Schwarzenegger's face on them.
Yes. So new dollars means okay. I got you. I didn't know what that meant. I thought it just meant money that they did not currently have yet. But maybe it means.
I think it was just called new dollars. Like that's like like oh this is this is New York, not Old York.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, and it does show a lot of the whole idea of like, class divide and what's going on. Like we're the top 1% or the top, 0.1% of the world basically has more wealth than the rest of the world combined.
Yeah.
It's just kind of sad. Some of the differences though, too, if you want to get into some of the differences between the book and the movie.
That's fine.
Yeah. So in the movie, Ben is a lot nicer. In the original book, he wasn't necessarily a bad guy, but he was far rougher around the edges. He was notably racist and sexist.
Which is funny because now he's got a black wife in the movie. But basically this makes you, changing that makes a lot more sense in this movie because you don't want your protagonist to be an asshole completely, and you don't want to make it somebody you can't relate with. Yeah, I think we're kind of done with that, or a lot of people are done with that kind of everyman type of character. The racist tough guy, but he's got a heart of gold type thing. I think a lot of us are done with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like he's also more violent. Like he commits more violence in the book, like on purpose. Whereas in theory, he's doing more like accidental violence sometimes and stuff like that. So
yeah, like at one point when he blew up the thing, he even told the hunters, the guys that were killing him, to back away because the whole thing's gonna blow up, which I thought was kind of weird. I'm like, why are you warning?
Yeah,
that they're like they're trying to kill you, dude. Like, but you don't have to be nice to them. Like they signed up for this role. Like it's okay if they get killed because.
Yeah, in the book too, his wife is a sex worker in the book.
Yes, he kind of went. They skipped over that a little bit in the movie where she's like, "No, I'm not actually doing that." Like,
so it's like they subverted it a little. He in the book too, he's like haunted by nightmares about his friends being tortured, and that's not in the movie. So, and like you were saying, there is a reference to Stephen King's books in this, and also in the book too. There's a reference to Derry, which we know from previous episodes that we just covered as the hometown of Pennywise, and the Losers. But like both versions of the Running Man include references. This is from Screen Rant, by the way. I want to give them credit for this.
Sure.
So both versions of the Running Man include references to Derry, a common setting in the Stephen King library stories, blah, blah, blah. So in the movie, Derry is the home of Elton Pericus and his mother. Elton explains how his family has long history in the town, including how his now deceased father was killed when he refused to give his loyalty over to the corporation. So basically in the book version, Derry is the town where he eventually reaches an airstrip and demands a private plane, similar to the private plane in the book, but I mean the movie. But yeah, in the book, it's the airstrip is in Derry in the book, I guess. So yeah, and if you notice in the movie too, Derry looks different because it's in the future and they basically cut down the woods and stuff and made it all like housing and shit. So
right, and so at this point, is Pennywise like completely dead, then like killed?
Oh yeah, he would be. Yeah. Like according to certain laws, and plus it's funny too because the Running Man book was written before it. So
I was gonna say 82. Yeah, it came out in like what 85,
something like that, like 87, I think, or something maybe. Yeah. Michael Cera's character is also different in the book. And like this, he's got like a lot of kind of skills and is able to help him escape and everything. In the novel, he's basically this like fat guy who has no he's like an overweight guy, unable to fight, although he offers Richard's shelter. He isn't able to do much to actively help him. So yeah.
Nice. I didn't realize that was Michael Cera playing the dude. Now I tell that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, like this is and he was in Scott Pilgrim and directed by the same director, so just kind of cool. Yeah, McCone is different in the book than he is in the movie. He's got the book. He's a high society hunter who is basically slowly revealed to have like none of the skills he presents himself as having.
Yeah.
So like he's basically not as scary as everybody thinks he is. In the book. Whereas like, in this, we find out he was a former contestant on The Running Man. And
that was an interesting little
twist.
The reveal. Yeah.
In the novel, Ben loses his family. They actually, they murder his family in the book.
Oh, okay. So then what happens at the end? He just like become like a revolutionary type dude or something, or
in the book, his final fate is different too. He's in the movie, and I mean, okay, in the novel, Richards is wounded and decides to fly the plane he's on straight into the Freevee building, killing Killian and a number of other people in the building. Yeah, so this is different because in the movie, he, Killian is like remotely controlling the plane to fly straight into the building, and and the plane never even gets close to the building before being shot down over the city. So basically he commits, a 9/11.
Right. Let's say it's supposed to pre 9/11.
Yeah. I don't understand why they changed the ending, even though it's, 24 years after 9/11 when they made the movie. So it's like, yeah.
But I think there's been like an understanding almost that like no movies do that anymore. It seems like, I mean, I have any movies that, or mainstream movies, that have done that. Maybe like or something, but
maybe in the future we'll cover the Schwarzenegger version of this. I don't remember how it ends, so he said that they took the basic concept of that and changed it a little bit. Like I know one thing from the original movie that like Killian is both the host of the show and the he's the host of the show and the owner of stuff. He's not like in the book it's two different characters, and in this movie it's two different characters. You have Bobby T, but Colman Domingo's character, and then you have Josh Brolin's character as Killian. But in the original movie, Killian is the host of the game show of the running. So yeah, and he's played by, which was really good casting back then. He's played by Richard Dawson, who is the original host of The Family Feud.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, Killian is played by him in the movie. And, Richard Dawson was also an actor too. So it was like, he was a game show host, but he was also like on Hogan's Heroes and stuff like that.
Right.
And so, and so there is like a public uprising in the book, I guess, but where basically the ending is different a little bit. Where the Running Man's after the Running Man in the book, it mentions that Richards has inspired the public to stand up against the government.
Yeah.
And there are only a few references to small bursts of the revolution, and it's more like what might be like the seeds of things happening, whereas like we have this explosive, far-reaching resistance in the movie. So yeah, you've got this, a different sort of ending where it's still uplifting, but it seems like it's more overt in the movie than in the book.
Yeah,
I was trying to find the words. Yeah. So yeah, any scenes really stand out in the movie that you want to talk about or anything?
Yeah, there's a few. The one where he's in the hotel, like the kind of like or apartment or whatever, he's hiding out.
Yeah.
And then they have like the live cam, version of what's going on. Everyone rolls up. He was trying to take a shower, but then he kind of figured out that someone was looking at him from down the street below earlier, and it was one of the main hunter guys. And so there's this whole scene where he's trying to get back into his apartment and grabbing his clothes and stuff, but then it's this towel ends up going out, so he's naked, and he's hanging off a sign that literally is the letter Y. He's going, why? Because it's like pulling off, like he's like God damn it. And then
because I'm not sure if they called it this in the movie, but I guess in the book it's a YMCA that he's staying at. So
okay, because yeah. And so he crashes through some other guy's window, and he's like smoking a joint. He's like, "Hey man, you're on the freebie right now." And that's what they call it, the free TV show. I don't know what that is. I'm guessing they call it a freebie because like that's the channel that's free on television. Maybe you need to pay.
Yeah, because I mean, it's a play on TV and it's freebie, you know.
Yeah. And so he's just running around, he's dodging bullets and stuff, and then he gets on the elevator, and the elevator's kind of broken. He throws a grenade, and that was one of his supplies. He's like, "I got a grenade," and he throws it, and he's like, right back at you, and he just kicks it back into the elevator, or that he throws it just in time for it to go off, but it doesn't really hurt anyone. And so he goes down into the basement or whatever, and he lights a magazine on fire just to, get some light, but he's accidentally setting everything else on fire. As he's doing it, it's kind of stupid, and like it was good though, because they're trying to catch him, and then there's a bunch of other flammable chemicals and shit, so it was like perfect. And then he sees all these rats running into the steward thing, so he gets the idea to go join the rats, and the place blows up. The fire goes down the tunnel, like one of those classic movie scenes where it does that, and he survives. And that's when so I forgot. So like every day they have to film themselves 10 minutes of the day, and then put that into like a mailbox group that they're still in the game or whatever.
Yeah.
And so he filmed himself after that saying like, "I'm still here, shit eaters," and gives them the finger. And so I thought that was probably one of my favorite scenes, because it was action. It was also playful at the same time. My other favorite scene is Timothy, or Tim, is the one of the three that were chosen for the Running Man.
Yeah.
He was first to get killed because he was a complete fucking moron. He goes into like a deli or something, and he's like hitting on the worker, at the counter, just like, "Hey, there's kind of like a guy that looks a little bit like me on the Running Man. I don't really know." Like, "Yeah, I don't really know." He's like, "Okay, well, I'll come back here later and ask you out later." What the hell, dude? And then he's sitting there. They're like, "Oh, he's got himself a breakfast burrito. I hope he enjoys that. That's going to be his last meal." And he's just sitting there strolling it, like, it's like watching this from his hotel room. He's like, "When you're fucking walking, it's called the Running Man, dude." He ends up getting killed.
Good. I will tell you that this is the better of the two movies that I saw of 2025 starring Martin Hurley in a supporting role. The other being Happy Gilmore 2.
Yeah. I think he got killed in that one too. No, he got hurt. Yeah. Nobody died in Happy Gilmore. No, Eminem died. Sorry, in Happy Gilmore.
Oh yeah. I mean, I really liked this movie. I think I like Glen Powell.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good actor. I mean, I haven't seen much with him in it, but he's basically definitely like our modern day, like Bruce Willis or something. He's got that good looks and humor and everything. Yeah.
A kind of everyman charm that's like not too intellectual or inaccessible, I guess might be the word.
Inaccessible, yeah.
He's like, he's got that. He's 37. He's younger than me. Fuck you. And
he feels like an everyman, like not like an unreachable type of person, So it seems like something that you could hang out with and play darts with or something,
Yeah, no, that's right. He's a dart buddy. That's exactly. He's a dart buddy. He's your friend that plays darts. He's not he's not overtly like political or like.
Glenny P and I hang out every second Wednesday of the week. After I, on the second Tuesdays, me and Joshy B,
yes.
and the Wednesdays it's me and Glenny P, and we go play darts, and then he has a couple beers, I have a couple colas, we're good.
Yeah, so you're right. You got your whole week mapped out. And what's here? His Spy Kids 3D. Wow, what a way to start your career. The worst of all the Spy Kids.
I saw video. I mean, clips of him from that, and he was so young. He looked weird.
I know it came out in 2003. I mean, it was man.
It's funny seeing him. Like, I saw the clip and I'm like, wow, that's Glen Powell. It's like you can tell it's him, but he's still like a kid. So it's like,
I understand. But I'm looking through his thing here. He's been in the new Top Gun. He was in
Hitman.
Hitman, Jurassic World, Camp Cretaceous. I don't know. That's
That's like an animated show.
Yeah.
Kinda. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I now he's going to be in a new movie. Hold on. Madeline Klein joins Glen Powell and Judd Apatow's next movie at Universe. All right. I'll read that later.
Yeah. So you want to hear some trivia?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So first thing that the guy here. Okay. The giant N logo above the network building is colored red and resembles the Netflix logo.
Oh.
Everywhere else in the movie, it's colored white. This was a subtle dig at Netflix, who director Edgar Wright says ran trailers for his film The World's End that carelessly gave away the ending.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
The movie Hitman is what Edgar Wright had Stephen King watch to convince him that Glen Powell would be the right choice to play Ben Richards.
Yeah, good.
So what was it? Okay, there was one that I wanted. Okay, one of the contestants shown early on is named Charles Decker. This name serves as a direct reference to the protagonist of Rage, a novella published by Stephen King under the pseudonym Richard Bachman. Both stories originally appeared together in the 1985 collection, The Bachman Books.
Okay.
King later requested that Rage be removed from all subsequent printings of the omnibus. Because the narrative, which involves a high school shooting, was linked to several real-world incidents of school violence.
Oh, wow.
So the book basically inspired kids to commit. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's the rarest book of Stephen King's to find anywhere because it's out of print completely. So, yeah. Okay. So the dressing room features jumpsuits labeled with the surnames of actors from prior Stephen King film and television adaptations. The names include Skarsgård, Bates, Spacek, and Lloyd, which serve as nods to Bill Skarsgård, Kathy Bates, Sissy Spacek, and Danny Lloyd, who were in It, Misery, Carrie, and The Shining.
Right.
Yeah, that's probably all we need to talk about here in the trivia. Anything else to say about this before we wrap things up?
No, not really. I would say I would give it like an 8 out of 10, I think.
Yeah.
So it's something that I would watch again. That's the other thing that I was going to say too early. I forgot about it. Is that a lot of entertainment now? It seems like TV shows and movies, whatnot. It almost seems like you probably know more about this than I do because you're more of like the film critic than I am. But like, it almost seems like it's intentionally made to be only watched once. Like just good enough to watch one time, but like not.
Yeah,
and a lot of stuff seems like that these days. Like
it does seem like that. I mean, there's like not a lot of care to like even subtleties in the script or things like that, or like even costuming or colors on the walls and stuff. It doesn't even seem like people do things that are like metaphors or things in the symbolism in the movies anymore. It's like just in your face, like pay attention to it. It's more like a serviceable thing as opposed to something you think about, And there's a lot of times there's a lot of times where there are movies that'll stick with you, and this one actually kind of does stick with you, But a lot of movies, you watch it and like a week later you forgot you watched it.
And it's probably going to be the last time you watch it, except for like maybe you come back to it like years later.
Yeah,
and there's movies that I've seen dozens of times. I obviously I don't like him anymore, but Kevin Spacey was in The Big Kahuna, and that was a movie I would watch a lot.
Yeah,
all the time.
I mean, it's like, I mean, I'm in the middle of rewriting a short film idea that you and I and our late friend Jamal kind of were developing, and I came up with some like really cool, subtle, like visual ideas that are things that a lot of people will watch it whenever I finally make it and not realize that I put them there for symbolism and things.
So but that's counts for something.
But I always loved that, like, I mean, because I took classes with, in film school, and I always loved that, like when you like something else, another Kevin Spacey thing, like the fact that in American Beauty, which I'm going to spoil, a movie that came out,
25 years ago or something,
22 years ago, whatever. But yeah, or not more than that, actually, I think, but whatever it was, 25, 20, 27 years ago, something like that. Yeah. Whatever it was. Anyways, the door of Kevin Spacey's house is red, and most people wouldn't realize that, but at the end you find out he's dead.
Oh,
red is symbolic of death.
Oh,
It's like, it's the same reason that Sixth Sense, another one I'm going to spoil from, a quarter century ago. But, yeah. But like, I remember watching that in theaters and turning to my friend and saying, I know how this movie's going to end. And because I have a book called The Encyclopedia of Symbolism that I read often. And so this is another red thing. There was a doorknob that Bruce Willis's character couldn't open, and it had a red doorknob.
Okay. All right.
And then also his last name is Crow in that movie, and crows are symbolic of death.
Yeah,
so it's like, so the whole I see dead people. Yeah, you've been seeing a dead dude the whole movie. Yeah. I basically knew the moment that I found out his name was Malcolm Crowe. I was like, yep, he's dead.
Sorry to break it to you. You planned to watch a movie with your friend, and he ruined it for you.
I went to my friend and I told him, I was like, when I was sitting there, I was like, I know how this movie's going to end. And he's like, don't tell me, Mike, because I had done it before, like when we were watching something and I ruined it. So it's like,
that reminded me one time I was watching The Mummy, part 2, I think, or maybe it was part 1. I was staying a night at my friend's house, and his cousin was staying over too, and they decided to take us to see The Mummy. And his cousin was just like one of those kids that just talks a lot about everything he knows, kind of like
yeah.
And so he ended up sitting next to me in a movie theater. I don't know if it was on purpose, but it just happened or whatever. And he's sitting there like giving off all these factoids about like mummies and stuff like that. And I'm just sitting there, because like I like learning about anything. So I'm just like, yeah, my friend's like, yeah, if you guys enjoy your little chat there, watch the movie here. Your interesting facts about mummies or whatever. I was like, sorry, we're watching a movie called The Mummy. It's like, am I not supposed to know how mummies work?
I don't think it was needed to know how mummies
work. It's like, your cousin, dude. You're the one who invited them here. Like, I'm the one who's like entertaining him. What the fuck, man? Oh god.
It's like it's like watching Fast and Furious and somebody sitting there telling you exactly how the engine works in the car, and you're just like, I just want to know that he's gonna,
car right there with that type of metal. When it makes that sound, but it vibrates a certain way because the material is made of it.
Oh boy.
How the color of the car refracts the light in a certain way. That was intentional. They actually did. Like, cool. Thank you for, being autistic in front of me.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Anyways, folks, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I could talk forever about this movie, though. There are so many things that are in my head, but it's like I don't want to, do that.
I didn't take notes either. The one time I took notes, the episode ended up being like 2 hours long.
Yeah.
And it's our least listened to episode about Gone to Maui, and I took like 5 pages of notes. Like I literally was stopping the movie every like 30 seconds to write down like a thing that I thought was interesting. And it was like I prepared like I rewrote the notes to make them even more understandable. Like, so I basically like the notes were just stuff I jotted down, and then later on I went back to them and like made them more intelligible. And I sent them to you even. And we're like, yeah, Gone to Maui. And it's like 2 years later, it still has like 4 views. I'm like, God damn. Like, come on. This is Aunt Marina's last film, by the way. What a sad way to go. Like,
anyways, folks, like I said, I hope you enjoyed this episode. And be sure to go to all2real2.com and check out our links to our social media, our TeePublic, our Patreon, and be sure to subscribe to the show wherever you're listening. Give us a 5-star review if you can. Comment below if you're listening to this on YouTube. Give us that thumbs up and ring that ding-a-ling bell thingy. And
yeah,
do all the stuff. Share it with your friends. Go on a game show and run for your life and tell people that you'll be more entertaining if they listen to our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Just remember that trans lives are human lives. No human is illegal.
True.
Fuck ICE. Free Palestine.
Yeah.
Be different. Be yourself.
No. It's good to
Remember that I love you.
Mm-hmm.
Stop filming me.
Yeah, do it.
Sesame loves you, and he's still here, shit eaters. And until next time, bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to All Too Real 2 podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.